Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon to chat about Thornybush. The property group has had some really exciting changes towards the end of 2022, sorry, and we've got some really exciting changes coming this year as well. So I will chat through all of those. Any questions throughout the webinar, please pop them in the Q&A and we will get to them at the end. The webinar is being recorded, so I will be sending out the recording after the fact in a couple of days' time, along with things like rates, fact sheets, image galleries, particularly the new images. So look out for those landing in your inbox in the next couple of days. It also means if you've joined late, like me, you can catch up after the fact. So let's get started. So Thornybush is a collection of 3 properties. It used to be, many people know the brand because it has been around for quite a while. During kind of COVID time and in that period, they've condensed their portfolio down to just 3 properties now, and they are 3 beautiful 5-star properties. These are in the Thornybush Game Reserve and also in the Northern Sabi Sand. So we've got Saseka Tented Camp, which is a newer property in Thornybush Reserve. We've got Game Lodge, Thornybush Game Lodge, which is a very well-known property. It's been around for about 60 years, I think it is. So they're very established and have just had a beautiful new refurb, which I will go through today. And they've got more changes coming there later this year. And then we've got Simbambili, which is down in the Northern Sabi Sand. So really iconic region and a really nice twin with the other, either of the other 2 properties. So this is kind of a quick look at the rates. I like to do this before and after. I think it's really nice to just see where we're at with the from rate. That has it in, the rates are all in Rand. I've converted it to pounds there as well. Obviously the exchange rate fluctuates, but this is sort of vaguely what it will be in pounds. And then I will show you the rates at the end as well. So after you've seen everything, you can then look at the rates again. So we'll start with Simbambili and the Sabi Sand. So many people know the Sabi Sand. It's actually quite often, as you may know, of a requested region, and then you've got to go about choosing a lodge in this area. Simbambili is a small lodge. It's only got 9 rooms, and so it's very intimate. It's got this beautiful main area which overlooks the this waterhole that you can see just up here, and this actually gets a lot of game at this waterhole. So it's a really nice place to sit, look out at the waterhole in between activities. It's a really lovely space. Now, the Sabi Sand is very well known for leopards, as many people will know. You're almost guaranteed a leopard sighting when you visit Sabi Sand. Obviously, we never say you can guarantee any wildlife anywhere. However, leopards in the Sabi Sand, the Sabi Sand is so synonymous with seeing leopards, and really here quite often we'll hear the lodge say that they saw 5 different leopard in one game drive or in one day. So it really is an amazing place to see them. This is actually on the left here, a photo of 2 cubs that had been stashed in the manager's house just next door to the lodge. The manager had to move out while the mum had them stashed there. And then we also have had them on the decks. We also don't guarantee this as a sighting, but it's a pretty incredible having one just wandering near your plunge pool. But yeah, I mean, of course, this is also in the boma area, so they couldn't set up the boma for dinner while this cheeky cub was hanging out here, so dinner had to be set up elsewhere. But it is an incredible location for seeing leopard, and I mean, I think for first timers, seeing one leopard is exciting. So it's a really great place for first timers or people who have been on safari before and just that's what they're there to see. That's what they're there to, say, photograph, for example. Obviously, other game is incredible here. We've got lion, rhino. We had amazing rhino sightings here when we stayed this time last year. And then, of course, leopard as well. But in general, the density of game here is really incredible. And the northern part of the Sabi Sand is not very busy. So you don't see loads of other vehicles and things like that. So the main lodge, it's a small space, it's beautifully appointed and looking out onto that water hole, and there are only 9 rooms, so you're not going to be sort of in a sort of crowd. The only crowds you'll get are elephants crowding around the water hole, And the food here really was incredible. I mean, I will probably say this 1,000 times throughout this presentation. The food at all of the properties really blew us away. I never felt overly heavy or really full. It was all really beautiful and fresh salads. This was really Simbambili, lots of kind of harvest table kind of style, lots of sharing plates. And I just, absolutely loved the food here. I thought it was delicious. They set up incredible sundowners, of course, out in the bush. And then they have their boma area where you saw that leopard cub hanging out. So as long as there's no leopard cubs here, they set up beautiful dinners here for guests, usually at least once during their stay. So these are the rooms. I've had agents say that Simbambili is their go-to in the Sabi sand because the rooms are so stunning, but the rate, which I will circle back to at the end, is really reasonable, particularly for this region. It can be like so steep. So they're really beautifully appointed rooms, all with their own private plunge pool and deck. Really, really comfortable. And we do also have 2 honeymoon suites. So 2 of the rooms are considered kind of a honeymoon suite. They are slightly bigger, as you can see here, a slightly larger suite, and that is common rated. So there's no kind of faffing about with that. If if you want guests to have the honeymoon suite, you request it, and it's the same rate as everything else, which is really nice and easy. And we also have our spa as well. So guests can have a nice massage while they stay. It is a really popular location for honeymooners. So it's really nice to have those little extras as well. So I will move swiftly on to the Thornybush Game Reserve. So we're heading north now, and the Thornybush Game Reserve has had, probably something for many years, particularly, Game Lodge, one of the oldest properties on the reserve, and the reserve previously was completely fenced. In 2017, the eastern boundary fence was dropped, and that has meant that we are part of the greater Kruger kind of ecosystem, and the game really just kind of came flooding in. They've had incredible stats that they've sent through to us of the kind of before and after, and the kind of over the years increase in the game here. What it's done, we have a lot of trees on Thornybush, a lot of hyena have come in. And that's meant that leopards quite often seen up in trees because they obviously have to hoist their kills up away from the hyena. We get a lot of hyena and wild dog interactions here. So the game on Thornybush is really incredible and really, really varied as well. So it is really an incredible, I think a lot of people maybe overlook it in favour of other areas of the Kruger Park. And I think Thornybush really is competing with the best of them now. So Saseka Tented Camp is quite unusual in that the rooms themselves are tented, which is not as widely seen in South Africa, particularly with the usual lodge style, but we do have this incredible main area as well. So architecturally and design-wise, the property is so stunning. It's overlooking this dry riverbed. It's actually the same, if anybody knows where Thornybush Game Lodge is, it's the same dry riverbed that Game Lodge is on. It's actually just round a bend in the river. So fairly nearby, but you wouldn't know the other property was there unless you kind of drive from one to the other, for example. They really make use of the dry riverbed in front of the main area. So they get guests down. It's a beautiful 5-star property, but it's really nice to get down onto the dry riverbed and have your feet in the sand and eat your dinner down there. I think it's just such a nice experience. And as you can see, the interior design here is so stunning. It really is jaw-dropping. You enter via these doors at the back here, and the kind of 180-degree view of the dry riverbed and all of that just beautiful interior design is really, really mind-blowing. And they've really kind of taken the sort of antique-y kind of old style of furniture and mixed it with the new, and have just been really innovative. And it is just absolutely stunning. It's a really nice big space. This property's only 9 rooms as well, plus they've got Little Saseka, which I'll chat about in a minute. So you've got this lovely big space and really only 9 rooms who are kind of sharing it. Again, I'll say it again, the food was really stunning here. Slightly different from Simbambili. I feel like Simbambili is more kind of harvest table style, lots of share plates. This is much more kind of plated dinners and plated lunches, but again, really fresh. using really fresh local ingredients and just really delicious food, and never that sort of overly heavy, stodgy, which you do sometimes get on safari. So really, really nice. So the rooms, as I said, slightly unusual for the area, being tented. It's not as common. You don't see quite as many tented camps here, but it still has got that sort of solid, if you will, kind of structure to it. So I think it's really nice for, maybe first timers who would love that experience, but maybe don't feel quite as safe in just a tent in the bush, which is completely fair enough, or people who are slightly more cautious, or something very luxurious, but still with that kind of classic tented feel. So it's sort of all glass at the front, and then the back is, you get the canvas at the back of it, and also the tented roof as well. They've all got private plunge pools, the rooms here. And again, the interiors are absolutely stunning. So this sort of draped, the draped ceiling has got botanical prints. There's all South African botanicals taken from museums in South Africa, and then sort of screen printed onto the fabric on the roof, and it is really just so unique and so stunning. And the rooms do also still feel quite homely, sometimes with really design-led the interior. Sometimes it can feel quite cold and stale, but it feels really warming, really welcoming, and is just really, really beautiful. I mean, I think we had our kind of jaws on the floor while we were being shown around the first time. It really doesn't get old, and I think the kind of antique kind of vibe with the new really works here, and is just really, really lovely. And you have that glass all the way around the front, so you've got views of the dry riverbed from the rooms, an outdoor shower, and as you can see, you've got the canvas at the back here, so it kind of makes it feel tented, but you've got that sort of solidness to it as well. So it's quite nice for people who are maybe slightly more cautious about being in a tent. We do offer massages here. We don't have a spa room, but they are all done in room, any kind of massage treatments. So we've also got Little Saseka, which I sort of touched on briefly before. So Little Saseka is kind of like a private sort of tented suite within the same lodge. So it's great for people with children. Generally, I would say probably just one or maybe two kids, because they would have to be in the tent. So you've got the kind of tented structure here, which is the same as all the other rooms. And then you have this separate main area. So what's really nice is you basically just have your entire own space. You don't need to go down to that main area, and it can be completely private and completely exclusive. It's got its kind of own private sort of boma area, and also private pool as well, and that sort of lawn in the middle. So it's a really nice space for honeymooners or anyone who kind of wants a really private experience. I'd say one or two kids potentially in here. The rest of Saseka doesn't take children, so kids can't come to the main area. So yeah, this would be a great space if they wanted, if parents wanted to bring their kids here. And it is just really beautiful, really private. What we can also do, I think it's room one of the rooms is really near to, or not really near, but it's just behind Little Saseka. So we can add on that room. So, if you've got two couples traveling together who want their own private main area, it's a really nice, it's a really nice way of kind of coordinating that. And then moving on to Game Lodge. So Game Lodge is, as I said, it's actually just around the corner from Saseka. They do share an airstrip in between the two properties, and you go off left for one and right for the other. But you would really hardly know that the other was there. Game Lodge is a very well-established property. It's been here for over 60 years, and they have just had a really beautiful new refurbishment. So just kind of elevating everything, just to kind of, redeck, rethatch, and then all the interiors have been redone as well. So the general structures have remained the same, and we have just kind of elevated everything. So the main area, I really, really loved the main area here anyway. I love those big high thatched ceilings, and they've just redone the interior, so they are really beautiful. Again, what they've done really nice is that mix of the kind of classic kind of antique-y feel with more modern as well. So this whole main area is actually really big. So Thornybush Game Lodge is 16 rooms. It used to be 18. It has condensed down to 16, and I will explain why in a moment. So they've got a really lovely big space to hang out in. The rooms are really lovely and spacious, so a lot of people tend to sort of hang out in their rooms as well. So you don't ever feel like there's loads of people kind of everywhere. And it is a really beautiful view over the dry riverbed. At some parts of the year, a bit of the dry riverbed does flood and create a bit of a waterhole as well. So that's really nice to just sit on those chairs at the front and just watch that waterhole. They have a main pool, so it's a shared pool, and they've redone this space as well. So added in that decking and new chairs and all the rest of it. So just kind of elevated everything and tidied it all up, and it just really does look stunning. So if you know the Thornybush before, you'll see that it just all looks, really spruced up. So the rooms are the same in terms of structure. So anyone who knows the rooms, it is the same, essentially the same layout, and they've just redone them. So they've got this really cool kind of very contemporary look here, with that very cool wallpaper and the sort of contrasting prints and patterns. So it is a very cool redesign. I love the bathrooms. If I could just do my bathroom at home like this, it would look exactly like this. I think they look beautiful. And you do get those really lovely bathrobes as well. They do bush dinners really well here. It's, and they do events really well at Game Lodge, particularly because it is that bigger lodge. They just do, events really nicely here. And of course, stunning sundowners in various locations. So Thornybush Game Lodge, for me, out of all of the properties, would be the best one for families, without a doubt. The rooms are nice and big and spacious. Some of the rooms are kind of next to each other, in that they sort of share a path in between. So I think families with older, teens or older kids, maybe from sort of 16 up, could do, one in one room, one in the other, and they're quite sort of near to each other, so they don't feel too separate. But we also have fantastic activities for younger children, keep them busy, especially during that kind of downtime between activities in the middle of the day. It's nice to get them, doing lots of different activities. And we are building Kamara House. So Kamara House is going to be completed hopefully in May, along with the new gym and the new spa at Thornybush. So we have condensed the normal double rooms down from 18 to 16. And we've added in Kamara House. So this is going to be I think we're calling it sort of 2.5 bedroom. So it's going to be two double bedrooms here and here. And then there will also be a twin room at the back here, which will be really only suitable for 2 children. And also the option to add on an extra room. So that decked walkway there will be to another room, which is an optional extra. So it will really be able to sleep a really nice amount of people. You'll be able to fit a really good sized group in there. So we're super excited for that. It's such a great property for families, and it's so nice having a really solid family option that's a really great size. It's within the lodge, so guests are more than welcome to make use of the same main area, the communal pool. There will be a private pool here as well, and it will have kind of lots of different, you'll have a private vehicle, you'll have a private guide, there will be sort of children's activities that guests can get involved with. Of course, guests elsewhere can as well. We do offer babysitting as well. So it's going to be a really nice family option. This gives you kind of an idea of the look and feel of the interiors, but it will be, sort of like this, but also fairly similar to the rest of Game Lodge, kind of in keeping with. So we'll be sending out as much information as possible about that in advance of it opening. And of course, as soon as we have images and fact sheets and everything, we will be sending those out. We do have a rate for Kamara House already. So when I circle back to those rates at the end, you'll be able to see the rate for that. Now, of course, anyone who's been on safari knows that the people make a safari. It really is, you can have incredible game viewing, you can have beautiful rooms, but really it is the people that get people coming back on safari again and again. So that's something that always stands out when you have amazing guides and amazing lodge staff, and it really stood out for us, particularly throughout our whole stay at the Thornybush lodges. And always just smiling and happy to see you and making you feel at home. Like that's, we really felt at home, at all the properties. As I said before, Thornybush, I hope is not overlooked in terms of game viewing, but the game here really, really is incredible. I mean, the elephant encounters are, I just have never had anything like that in my life. Amazing leopard sightings. You're probably not going to get the same leopard sightings you get at Sabi Sand, but I don't know if there's anywhere you really do. Really cool, a lot of kind of interaction between hyena and wild dog. We've got loads of rhino. We had guests the other day who saw 12 rhino in one sighting. So really incredible general game as well. I think one of our favorite sightings while we were at Thornybush was the impala. They were almost sort of dancing in the morning sun. They were doing a what the guide called splonking, and it's where they don't really know why they do it, but it's almost like they were dancing with joy, and I was like almost in tears. It was just the most beautiful. So you can see all the elephants and leopards and lions that you want, but sometimes it's the impala that do it for you. But yeah, the game on Thornybush is really, really incredible. Of course, the guiding and the food was really stunning here. And as I said before, they really do events here very well. They have had weddings here. They can host, big birthdays. I think because it's very easy access from Hoedspruit and from Nelspruit, it's really easy to kind of get a bunch of people out here and do a really lovely big occasion. And there's the space. We've obviously got the 16 rooms and soon to be Kamara House, and then right next door, or just sort of down the road ever so slightly, is Saseka as well. So for any extra rooms. In terms of community projects, Thornybush gets involved with so much in the local area, and that's what's really, really nice about working with them, is we know they're doing so much. We've got the kind of community, there's a community garden down the road. They get involved with the local school, and they have helped to sort of build up this community garden, and then also buy back a lot of the produce for the lodges, and the garden sells to a lot of other lodges in the area as well. During COVID, they were fantastic at kind of, first of all, they get kids out on safari as much as possible. A lot of the produce that we kind of was kind of overflow produce that we couldn't buy because there were no guests during COVID. Was given back to the community. So it was, they really got involved during that really difficult time. We've got the canine unit that operates on Thornybush, and if guests would like, they can request a talk from the dog unit, and we are trying to arrange for them to come sort of once a week or on a kind of semi-regular basis, so that guests can have that as part of their stay. And this was JB when donating all the food to the community. The amount of avocados, it's like heaven. So yeah, they did donate a lot back to the local community that just couldn't be used during that time when we were closed. And of course, try and harness sort of natural resources as much as possible. So this is something that will be ever building. We are running sort of semi on solar and semi by generator, and only trying to increase that as time goes by. So here's a kind of circle back look at the rates. So as you can see, Simbambili is common rated. We've got the honeymoon rooms there, but they are all the same rate. Same with Saseka. You've just got the supplement for Little Saseka, and then also the 16 rooms at Game Lodge, all common rated, and then Kamara House will have that extra rate. So that is for 4 packs, and then there'll be a rate per person add on. But thank you so much. It's a shame that the presentation kind of doesn't have a closing slide, so we'll go back to the opening slide. Thank you so much for any questions. So in the Q&A, okay, fab. Thank you, Tenisoya, which are the most suitable airports to reach each property? So into Thornybush, it would be, we flew into Nelspruit, and we had a road transfer into the property, and there is an airstrip between Saseka and Thornybush, so people can private charter right into, like, straight to the camp if they'd like to. But the road transfer was about 40 minutes and was very easy. Okay. Sorry, just going through these questions. Thank you, Daniel. I believe there used to be a family suite game lodge. Can 1 or 2 kids still share a regular suite with their parents? Yes, they can. So the rooms are a really nice size. We can definitely add in 1 or 2 beds. I would say 1 and a cot would probably be preferable, because otherwise it can be a bit of a squeeze. But of course, on request, we can do quite a lot of things. So definitely, if you've got specific a specific request, please let the reservations team know. But yeah, 1 or 2 kids in one of the normal suites can absolutely be done. Sorry. Thank you, Eliza. I hope I covered conservation efforts and engagement with local communities. When I follow up with you as well, I will send you kind of everything. We don't have loads of time in these webinars, but I can send you all of it will be sort of included in our follow-up, everything that the properties are involved with. Amazing. Thank you, Peter. And yes, we will send everything through to you. Eliza, how many to a Jeep? Thank you. So the Jeeps can be covered or uncovered. So when we were there, it wasn't too hot. We had it uncovered, but they can also cover them. That we don't do night drives because of the reserves. And also how many to a Jeep. So usually 6. They are very big. We can offer private vehicles, and if guests take Kamara House or Little Saseka, they just get a private vehicle just anyway. So usually 6 to a vehicle if the properties are full. And Sean, thank you for your question on are the pools heated? I actually don't know the answer to that one, so I will find out. It would be my thought that they would be, because it gets particularly cold in South Africa in the winter, but I will double check that for you. So thank you. Karen, thank you. Are the rates per person? So the rates are per person per night. For Kamara House, it is a house rate, so it's that's based on 4 people, and then we add on people to that. But yes, I will send you through the rates as well, so you'll get the rate sheet and kind of the breakdown of kind of what each house, etc. But yes, generally it is per person per night. Thank you. Oh, and Karen, again, thank you. How many activities you do per day? Generally, it's a normal kind of safari day. So first thing, head out on a game drive, and then usually the afternoon as well. Things like kind of going to see, if guests want to go and see kind of the community initiatives or meet with the dog unit and things like that, then that can be done kind of in that sort of downtime period, in that sort of middle part of the day where it's a bit hot to go out. Andreas, will game drives be done on the tracks or also off-road? Generally we keep to tracks, but we can go off-road for big sightings, so it's just kind of a case by case. For big sightings you can head off-road, but generally it is kept to the tracks. Amazing. Sorry, they're coming through different places. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for all your questions. I hope I managed to answer them all. Obviously, if you think of any after the fact, please do pop an email through or give us a call. We're happy to answer any questions whenever. Hopefully, you will get everything you need in a follow-up. But yeah, of course, if there is anything after the fact, please let me know. Thank you so much for joining this afternoon. And we have got another webinar at 5 o'clock today. So if anyone has missed this one, they can tune in again in a few hours' time. And then we will see you again next week for our next webinar. Thank you so much.